When we talk to live human beings, their mind likes to buy, it hates to be sold. So we should talk to them in the order their mind likes to buy. And how people decide to buy is the first thing they want to know is, can I trust you and believe you? Well, if we don't get this right, we're dead. Because if they don't trust us, they'll never join. If they don't believe us, we could offer the product for €1 they wouldn't buy. So we have to have that trust and belief first. That only takes a few seconds. So to get trust and belief, here's a couple tips. Number one, smile. If you smile, people have a program that says, well, you must be telling the truth because if you smile, it must be true. A stupid program in humans' minds. But politicians smile, conmen smile. When you smile, people say, it must be true. And how we get this is when we're a baby laying in a crib, on our back, 6 weeks old, we can't even roll over. We look up, how do we trust somebody? If they smile. So it's pretty hardwired in our minds that if we smile when we talk, people will tend to trust us more. Another tip to get us to trust us more is start with a fact they believe already. Not with something they don't believe or don't know, but with a fact they believe already. You might say things like, dying early is inconvenient. And they'll go, yeah, you're right. Or, we all want to live longer. Yeah, that's great. Or, growing old really hurts. Oh, you got that right. You know, I have inflammation and pain all day long. Let me tell you about it. So just start with a fact they like jobs interfere with the weak. Yeah, you're right. Everybody tends to like people who think the same way they do. So start with rapport before you talk about the business. The next step is an icebreaker. This is where we introduce our business into a social conversation in a socially acceptable way. When a new person starts, they're looking around and says, I want to talk to all these people, but how do I talk to them? How do I force my business into the conversation? And they do it pretty ugly because we haven't taught them. They'll be at a funeral and saying to the widow, oh man, yeah, I'm really sorry about your husband dying, but you see these fine lines for here that probably could use some serum? And it's not the right way. Or they're at a party and they just want to talk to everybody and they say, so, what's your name? Oh, my name is Zia. Zia, that starts with letter Z. My company starts with letter Z. Let me tell you about the Zinzino opportunity. And they just ugly force the business into the conversation. We have to be a little bit more tactful. So how would you do this? You could say things like, I just found out. Like, I just found out how we can keep our bodies from rusting out on the inside. Or, I just found out how we can make some changes so we can live longer and use up some of our children's inheritance. Or, I just found out how we can start our own business at home and maybe eventually fire the boss. Or, I just found out how we don't have to commute to work anymore. We could actually start our own home-based business and work out of our home. Or I just found out how we can have a full-time career helping other people instead of moving paper from one side of the desk to another. Now, after these icebreaker statements, they're going to say, yes or no. So the next step is having them make a decision. So what we said during our icebreaker will get them to make a yes or no decision. So step number 3, getting the decision, is automatic. They're just going to respond to what we bring up to them. If the answer is no, we're done. Talk about the weather. And if the answer is yes, then go on to the final step, step 4, a presentation. Now, how much of a presentation do people need? Well, some blue personalities might want 0 presentation. They say, fine, let's get on with it. And some green personalities want to know every fact in the history of humanity. Somewhere in between, we're going to use our judgment. And if you don't know how much of a presentation to give somebody, just ask this question. What would you like to know first? And then tell us. And when they're done, just say, what would you like to know next? And then tell us. And keep asking that till you run out of questions. And then you can end up by saying, what would you like to do next? So that's how people like to buy. They like to make up their mind yes first, and then get the details later. So remember, decisions first, details later. That's how we like to buy.
If we do it out of order, give them the details first, it's ugly and people hate to be sold. So let me give you an example. Let's imagine, just an imaginary example, that Sweden was in the World Cup. Imaginary. And that morning, your television breaks. You say, this is terrible. So you run down to the electronics store to buy a television, and you see the television you want, and it looks like a good price. You run over to the salesman and say, I want to buy this television. The salesman says, shut up and sit down and listen to me while I give you my 45-minute presentation. Mr. Sony was born in a log cabin. He created the first transistor. We got it awards. It's the best TV. We can beat up the other engineers better than your engineer. And 45 minutes later, we want to poke them in the eye. We just wanted to buy a TV. How we would have preferred to be talked to is given a chance to make a yes decision first. So we'd come over and say, how much is this TV? And can I take it home? And they say, well, this TV is 500 euros, and yes, you can take it home. You say, great. Wrap it up, and while you're wrapping it up, you can tell me about Mr. Sony. That's how humans like to buy. So remember, humans like to buy, hate to be sold. So the order is rapport first, then the icebreaker. They'll automatically make up their decision, and finally, give them a little presentation. The presentation is the easiest part, but don't do that first because people don't want any information until they've already made up a yes decision in their mind. Good luck.